This cold open is brought to you by our wonderful diehard Ogre. Says happy BLA and Luka Aho Day. First time I've observed both traditions on the same day. Psychos and sickos unite for another edition of the PHNX Suns pregame show, but the music just got cut off. I don't know, maybe because it's a Sunday edition of PHNX Suns pregame, brought to you by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you. At Gila River Resorts and Casinos, visit playatgila.com for more details. My whole mojo got thrown off, but I'm Eric. That's Steven. That's Gerald. Noah's behind the Mac. I'm not even going to say that second part because he ain't making the magic happen right now. He took the magic away. What the heck, Noah? What's going on, dude?
I added it to the scene. I didn't think it would cut off like that.
Oh, wow. We're off to a very, very hot start. Of course, the Suns coming off of one of the games that left the fan base the happiest, a 122-106
Did
win.
it really?
I think it did.
Part of the fan base.
Part of the fan base.
Well, I'll just say, if we could actually act like it.
What?
Not us, not the figurative us, just the
collective.
The general sense of the word us.
I do fall into that a little bit. I was pretty mad at Mike Budenholzer after the last game. But overall, I was happy.
Saying, man, why does discourse have to be what it is sometimes?
Gerald, do you have an answer?
There's not enough time in this pregame show for me to break all that down. But what about the discourse bothered you from last game, Steven?
I'll just say we have all this great basketball that everybody's been crying, begging, asking for. You get both of the rookies playing. Mike Budenholzer plays Colin Gillespie. In addition to that, the Suns move the ball on offense. They get stops defensively. They win by double digits against a team that's close in proximity in the play-in. You wake up Saturday morning, and we see things that have nothing to do with that game that we just got done begging for all of this time.
Sure.
Just saying, we got to be better, man. We got to be better than that.
Are you talking on the media side, on the fan side?
Generally,
both?
It literally can't just be one person. It's just
Sure.
So I'm just making it a general statement.
Yeah.
We got to be better than that.
No, that's fair. And I think for the fans, if they're not fully bought in, I think it's fair because, we have 67 games after that last game to judge this team based on. And it was good to see our opinions that the rookie should play be immediately loudly validated
For sure.
in that Rockets game. But I think Kevin Durant stressed this after the game a couple of times in his post-game responses, like, okay, we've been talking about it. That was a good game. Now we got to build on it. And I think it's fair to question that. I do think, to your point about the overall discourse, it does feel like we've reached, and we maybe reached this point of no return a few weeks ago, where all people want to talk about are the changes that are coming this offseason. And I get it to a certain degree. We know this team isn't winning a title, but part of the evaluation for what has to happen this offseason, we need to be still tuning in and evaluating the actual play, even when it is kind of ugly. And last game was not ugly. So hopefully that's something that they can build on in this one.
You want to know what else isn't ugly?
Oh, yeah.
The Phoenix Suns starting five today, baby. I've just been refreshing the Suns Twitter account this entire time. I do agree with both of you, though. Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Nick Richards, who's back from injury, and our guy, Ryan Dunn, still getting the starting nod. Humble rumble. We'll get there in a second, but there we go. There we go. Light up the horn. And of course, it's important for Ryan Dunn to get the start tonight, not just to capitalize on momentum, but this is the first time, Steven, that the Suns will be facing off against, Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah. There's no one better suited to guard Luka. And I put guard in quotations because you don't guard Luka. You just are kind of there.
Yeah.
That dude is just great. I know no one wants to hear it. That dude is freaking great. Like, I don't know if anybody's been watching Lakers games since he got there, but
Begrudgingly.
it's clear. Yeah, for sure. He's clearly, there's like a weight lifted off his shoulders in terms of being with a franchise that supports him and believes in him, and having a franchise that backs you like that. Even if as a superstar player, your whole perspective on things shifts, and he's playing with a different type of energy and spark right now. That
well, can he not? Can we not do? Can he not do that?
The first quarter for the Lakers against the Bucks. I was watching some
Yeah.
Lakers film earlier. Jesus Christ! And then in a handful of the games before that too, like that dude is different, and I think they have a roster that matches him from the margin perspective too. Players like Austin Reeves, probably the best third option or one of the best third options in the league. Players like Gabe Vincent play well off of Luka. Like they have him well insulated to match his strengths. So it's gonna be tough, but yeah, should be a fun game.
Yeah, and they've been super shorthanded recently. They have a number of guys coming back today. Gabe Vincent, like you mentioned, Dorian Finney-Smith, Jackson Hayes, and then obviously Luka will be playing. So this is going to be a little bit tougher. You look at the Lakers' schedule; they've lost their last 4, but a lot of that was due to how shorthanded they've been and how Luka has. You mentioned the Bucks game; like they had no chance to win that game, but Luka, despite not being like fully 100% back to being Luka, drops 45, and he probably would have had a lot more assists if his shooters were knocking down shots. So this is not going to be an easy game for the Suns by any stretch, as long as Luka's in the lineup, even with LeBron James sidelines and their big rotation being kind of what it is at this point.
Well, there are no easy games for the Suns.
What's crazy, the Suns might have a better center rotation than the Lakers right now.
They might.
Which is insane to even be entertaining, yet alone actually believing.
Definitely morals wise, I hate you, Jackson Hayes. Let's take a look at the injury report since we've kind of dipped our toes in there already. Nick Richards is available. Monte Morris out. Grayson Allen is still out. Jalen Bridges out as well. As far as the Lakers, Dalton Connect is available along with all the players that Gerald mentioned, but they are missing LeBron James, Rui Hachimura, and Maxi Kleber. We mentioned that Ryan Dunn is so important to take on Luka, but also Nick Richards being available affects probably the minutes we're going to see from Oso Ighodaro. But I feel like personally, and I know we all feel that way, he should still get some sort of run. How much do you think he should get against this Lakers team who has a weaker center rotation?
He should get 20 minutes tonight.
Okay.
I don't think the Lakers have a center starting or reserve-wise that he can't match up with, whether that be Alex Len, whether that be Christian Koloko, who they've been playing that center a little bit, or obviously more so than anything else, Jackson Hayes. Also can match up with all 3 of those centers, and I don't see any reason why he shouldn't get at least close to 20 minutes. So that's what I'm hoping for to see from him in this one.
I would love to see that. I think realistically, you are looking at 0 to 10 minutes for Oso today, and I think we're going to be angry when we circle back to this in post game, just because Nick Richards is back and Mason, like Mike Budenholzer loves him some Mason, and I will say like Mason has played better recently than I think people have been willing to give him credit for, but like we saw the impact of having Oso out there last game, and I know there's going to be some matchups that are not ideal for Oso because of the size and the rebounding problems occasionally. This is not one of those games. This is one of those matchups where he should absolutely be out there for, like Steven said, about 20 minutes. But I do want to call attention to the fact that at least we are getting the starting lineup that we've kind of been wanting,
for sure.
Because this 5-man group of Beal, Booker, Ryan Dunn, Katie, and Nick Richards, we have seen them for a grand total of 4 minutes this season. That lineup. And that was the lineup that we thought should probably be the starting lineup when they made the Nick Richards trade. So I don't want to say too little too late because they still have time to make the plan. But at least we are getting that, even if Oso doesn't play a lot today.
Yeah, it's exciting to be able to watch the best perimeter defender on the team take on a challenge like Luka, and it's something that he had to do earlier in the season as well. Now, of course, the fouls are going to be something to watch with Ryan Dunn, which is why, to your point, I would like to see Oso Ighodaro because Mason Plumlee's been playing good. Nick Richards has shown a little bit more versatility on that defensive end, switching out there and playing a little bit higher up. But Oso Ighodaro is the most well-equipped center to switch and to play perimeter defense. And we actually saw, I believe it was against Luka when he was on the Mavs earlier in the season, Oso take on that matchup and actually hold his own pretty well for a rookie. And I think forced Luka to miss a couple of shots. And I think if you are going to win today's game, which I know that there's no LeBron and no Rui, and I get it, but this is a really good Lakers team. This is a really well-coached Lakers team. You're going to kind of have to throw the kitchen sink at Luka and try to take him out of the game as much as possible if you are going to win this game, which is not a guarantee by any stretch of the means.
Yep. And you can't sit back and play drop coverage all game either. And the last thing I want to see from the Suns today is Luka coming off of screen after screen, and it's Mason Plumlee that's waiting on him on the other side of that. Because Luka is just not going to care at all.
Nope.
And Mason respectfully can't give him anything to care about in that scenario either. So that's why I feel like in this game in particular, Mason probably shouldn't play that much. This isn't the matchup for him.
Yeah.
Now, if he comes out and gets like 10 and 10, like I'll be the first to say, okay, I was wrong. I have no problem admitting I was wrong. But as a template matchup-wise, this is not the game for him.
I just mentally logged that whole paragraph of what you just said, and I'm probably going to be replaying it over in my head a few times in this game. Hopefully not.
Mason Plumlee triple-double alert.
Which part of that is the next? Which part of it? The former or the latter?
The first part.
The former, yeah, because then that means that Luka probably had 50.
Yep.
Like a 50 and 15 and 10 type of triple.
Just mentally clocking it now.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we're talking about perimeter defense. Super Sancho in the chat says, let's go Suns. Need to see Martin and the rookies more.
I was gonna
Obviously,
get to that next.
Yeah, Cody Martin is not somebody that we saw, even though he was available last game. Grayson Allen still out. Ryan Dunn still starting. Do we feel like, Gerald, that we could see Cody Martin, who you did a whole board game breakdown about why this would actually probably be a good matchup for a guy like him?
Yeah, it's always fun when you put hours of work into a breakdown and then the dude doesn't play when he's finally healthy. But
content.
Great content. I don't know if we'll see him today. And I would like to, because I feel like you have only a handful of games to evaluate this guy who has a fully non-guaranteed contract for next season. So you should probably do your due diligence in that respect. But I feel like with where the Suns are at in this season, I don't know if we're going to see him today. I think it would probably take an injury, or they just really need something.
Some foul trouble maybe.
Yeah, or Ryan Dunn like really struggles and it's noticeable and they have to take him out. I don't know.
I have appreciated seeing Colin Gillespie get minutes, but I feel like in today's game, with players like Gabe Vincent, Austin Reeves, more than anybody, Luka Doncic, I feel like this is a game where Cody should be seeing minutes in some capacity. Even if you give him one shift to see how his body responds to actual game minutes and how his impact on the game looks and feels with your team, and then kind of assessing it off of that, you can always pivot back to Colin. It's not like you haven't done that already. I would just like to see Martin get at least a couple of minutes in this one early on, just to kind of get a feel for things.
And Luka's a tough matchup to throw in first. I guess you're coming off of a sports hernia. You haven't played with this specific team either, but there are other perimeter threats on this Lakers team, obviously in the form of Dalton Connect, who is somebody who can catch fire and especially can shoot well from three. And we've seen the Suns not do a great job at containing those types of players. You do need to shut down Luka, but at the end of the day, Luka ain't the only one who can beat you.
That's the thing. You're not going to shut that dude down.
Well, shut him down as in like throw everything at him to try to slow him down. But even if you do find a way to relatively contain him, limit him to under 30 points, right, there are still a couple other options on this Lakers team that can beat you, especially with some of the weaknesses the Suns have shown on the defensive end.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, you have to throw a number of looks. You have to throw a number of able-bodied defenders who are well charged. So I think if you have Ryan Dunn on him to start the game, it would be nice if you were just able to throw Cody Martin on him for 3, 4, 5 minutes at a time and keep those legs fresh, because Luka can wear you down as an offensive player or as a defensive player. I would like to see a short leash for Royce O'Neal in this particular matchup, because we know that Royce is going to be the guy that comes in and takes on the Luka assignment as soon as Dunn comes out. If he's not playing well, or if the shot's not falling, try Cody Martin. Like give it a try. This is a good matchup for having a good point of attack defender who can guard multiple positions like Martin can.
Are we ready for Austin Reeves superstar whistle on a Sunday afternoon?
I'm never ready for that, man.
ABC game Sunday afternoon. Got to give the stars what you want, right?
Like
Austin Reeves 25 free throw attempts loading.
Austin Reeves is like legitimately good, but his foul baiting irritates me more than anybody else in the league. Like everybody talks about Shea or Joel Embiid or Harden or all these other guys. Austin Reeves drives me bonkers more than anybody else.
Well, you guys aren't driving me bonkers in the chat. I forgot to thank all of you for being here because Noah threw the mojo off at the beginning of the show. I mean, come on, everybody blame Noah. It's all Noah's fault. He's just shaking his head at me. I'm sorry. Noah's very good at his job. But so are you guys. Thanks for tuning in on a Sunday afternoon. Over 200 of you in here right now. Make sure you hit that like button. No like goals on pregame, but that doesn't mean that you can just not hit that like button. And if you're new around here, remember we do post-game shows as well. And on our post-game show, we're going to revisit these 3 keys that Steven put together as far as how the Suns could win this afternoon's game.
Yes, we will. And we'll start with the first one, looking at the defense and defending to a scheme versus Luka. The Suns like to be directional in terms of keeping him towards the outer thirds and away from the middle of the court to try to shrink his options for passes. Can you be sharp with that? Is Ryan Dunn going to stay out of foul trouble? Who's going to be the second person that checks in? Or is Ryan going to be matching minute for minute with Luka? Those are the questions I'm going to be looking to kind of see answered early in the game. Also, finding timely stops. That's what got them to win in a loud fashion against the Kings. Can you replicate those efforts in some capacity tonight against a better offensive team with better offensive weapons? Number 2, tempo on offense. Not just getting up the court quickly, but how quickly are you flowing through actions? Is the ball moving? Are you moving Kevin Durant and Devin Booker around, or is it the stagnant play that works against what you at least communicated is your offensive process? And then the last one, unleash the rookies. We talked about that. We've lamented that the last 3 days now. I think that speaks for itself.
I like how all those keys, Gerald, they kind of play into each other.
Yeah, absolutely. If you play the rookies, you can probably play better defense to a scheme on Luka, and you can push the tempo by actually getting deflections and steals and rebounds and pushing the tempo, turning defense into easy offense, something that we've lamented the Suns have not been good at. I don't know what the updated standings are, but heading into last game, they were 29th in steals, 29th in deflections, and 29th in opponent turnovers. That's just, you're not doing your offense any favors. And this is a borderline top 10 offense despite all of that. So imagine if you play the rookies more, are able to generate some of those things and make life even easier for the Kevin Durants and the Devin Bookers, who are probably tired of seeing a double team every time they cross half court at this point.
Well, you mentioned standings. I'm tired of saying it. I'm sure you're tired of hearing it, but another important game for the Suns play in chances. Let's go ahead and take a look at the push for the playoffs presented by our friends over at All Pro Shade Concepts. Now, I will let you know, the Dallas Mavericks, who are in that 10th seed, are currently losing 126-123. They've made that a game against Philly. Now they just scored again. It's 126-125. 12 seconds left to go in the fourth. You can put that one on in your TV in the background while you're watching this as well. That is definitely one to keep an eye on because the Mavs are in that 10th seed right now. The Suns are 1.5 games behind the Mavericks. If they end up losing, the Suns win. They close in an inch so much closer to that 10th seed. Kings still sitting at that 9th seed, a full game ahead of the Mavericks whatever the outcome of this game is. Clippers sitting very comfortably in 8th, Timberwolves in 7th, Golden State in 6th, Lakers in 5, Grizzlies in 4, Nuggets in 3, Rockets 2, and of course, the Oklahoma City Thunder number 1. Every single game.
Philly.
What?
Don't do it, Philly.
Don't do it, Philly.
Don't you do it.
I think Philly just hit a free throw,
They
128, 125. It's a one-possession game.
Do it, Philly.
This is basically like a Philly watch-along. But even if the Mavs win, you saw the reports about how they might be forced to forfeit games if their injuries luck continues to get worse. And the Suns still control their own destiny because you're not 4, 5, 6, 7 games out of the play-in. Win today, and you continue to move inch closer to that 10th seed, Steven.
Just handle your business, man. Don't worry about the outside noise. Don't worry about what other teams have going on. You have more than enough to worry about that's in your own home. Literally your home being your team. Just make sure you're focusing on what's in your control. Handle your business on a daily, gamely basis. You'll get to where you're supposed to be.
With the state of the Mavs on and off the court, the fact that they might not be able to field enough active bodies, the fact that you own the tiebreaker over them, so you don't even have to finish with a better record than Dallas. You just have to finish with the same record. Like, I don't care what the Suns' remaining schedule is. It would be really embarrassing if they can't close the gap and work their way into the play-in.
Good thing they've never been embarrassing this season. Let's take a look at what we think is going to happen for the game today. Mavericks to the side. What about Suns, Lakers? Our score predictions. Espo doing the classic Espo shrug. Suns by, he doesn't know how much. Gerald, you're going Suns by 2. Steven, we're going Suns by 6. So a close win, Gerald.
Yeah, and I felt better about this when so many of the Lakers players' status was up in the air. But
Would you change?
I would consider it. I'm still going to stick with just Suns by 2. I do think Luka's probably going to drop 40 on this team, but I don't know that they have enough around him for it to matter. And I think the Suns have been playing better recently. I think it's well past time that they string together consecutive wins for the first time in like almost 2 months.
How confident are you in Suns by 6, Steven?
I'm confident, but I think a lot of that is contingent upon how well do you guard Austin Reeves. He's a player that's had great success over the last 2 to 3 seasons against the Suns. In multiple iterations of the team, different coaches. Silly.
Sorry, Spencer Dinwiddie missed a 24-foot three-point shot. Gershon Yabusele defensive rebound. Our boys might pull it out, our 76ers.
It's about time Spencer Dinwiddie did something nice for the Suns.
For real. And shout out PHLY. Y'all deserve this one. Anyway, I'm so sorry for rudely interrupting with a fist bump.
To my point, find a way to shut off Austin Reeves' water in some capacity. Whether you're giving him his drives and taking away the 3 or telling him you can take as many 3s as you want and you're not going to get to the free throw line into the paint, take something away from him. That's not something they've been able to do. They've been okay scheming for Luka. You have to figure the other part out with Austin Reeves, especially with no LeBron or Rui Hachimura to worry about on the periphery.
Yeah, and you've seen that you can definitely lose games just to Luka alone, and not just the Suns, but any team in the NBA. You could roll the ball out there, and Luka could put you away by himself. But you really stand no chance of Luka's firing on all cylinders, which includes getting his teammates in it and going and shooting threes, and then they start to play off of each other. And then they open up the middle for that weaker center rotation that's been holding their own, like a Jackson Hayes. Looks like Philly is going to win that game. Yep, 130 to 125. Philly wins. This just became even more of a must-win game. Let's see what our friends over at Bet365 have the line at for what is now a must-win and was before. Suns plus 115 on the road, plus 2.5 on the spread. Lakers minus 135 on the money line, minus 2.5 on the spread. We showed you the line. Well, how about the lines that we're taking? It's time for our pregame picks presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHNX365 when you sign up and find out why, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 plus and physically located in AZ. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT-STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. Espo's bet on the last game was Royce O'Neal first basket, and Royce O'Neal wasn't starting. So when we saw his bet today, got a little bit nervous, but it ends up being possible. He's taking Ryan Dunn first basket plus 1,000. I don't hate this bet. I really don't.
I don't either. He comes out gunning, and especially because defenses are prone to leaving him and forcing him to make shots, there's a decent chance.
Yeah, Luka's going to be guarding him. He's not going to be paying attention to him in the corners. He'll probably be wide open for a 3 opposite side of a Booker pick and roll or a Durant post touch. The opportunity is there for sure.
Yeah, definitely there. And sticking with the Ryan Dunn bandwagon, which I feel like I began, let's take a look at my 3-leg parlay. I call it the Get Her Done parlay. I got Ryan Dunn over 1.5 stocks, Ryan Dunn over 1.5 3-pointers made, and Ryan Dunn over 4.5 rebounds boosted thanks to our friends over at Bet365, 30%, a plus 813. I would really like an all-around good Ryan Dunn game. We know he's going to take the shots. We know he's going to gamble for those steals and go for those blocks, and I think he has a great nose for rebounding the ball. I could see all those happening. It's just a matter of will it, and I think foul trouble might be the number one thing that gets in the way of me and my bet. Steven, what about yours?
Starting with the Suns winning and both teams scoring over 100 points. I think at least the latter is a gimme. The former, we'll see. Devin Booker, 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined in this one. He's had some good showings against the Lakers over the last couple of years. I imagine he goes out and does the same, especially without LeBron James or Anthony Davis to worry about anymore with this team. Luka Doncic over 5 rebounds in the first quarter. He's typically a player that comes out and sets the tone. Without LeBron James, he doesn't have someone else to fight with over rebounds. Rebounding is not a specialty for the Lakers without LeBron, so I feel like that's possible. Austin Reeves also over 1.5 assists in the first quarter. And then lastly, we talked about shooters going off against the Suns, largely because of the attention that primary ball handlers get. No ball handler on ball has more attention than Luka Doncic, and I feel like Gabe Vincent is a player who's had mismatched games, 7 threes made in one game, 0 the next, 4 in one game, 0 the next. This one falls in alignment with him in terms of his box scores from to be due for a couple of threes made.
I believe in you, Steven. I really do.
You better hope I don't win this bet.
That's fair.
That's
Well,
a nice 1,000 and some change.
yeah, it's a lot. I think that would put you, I'm pretty sure that puts you in the lead. Do we have our standings at all? I know we haven't checked in on the standings because I'm just running away with it. And it's just, it's so sad to see those really, really low negative numbers.
Sure,
and,
sure.
It's just been that way for a really long time.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I don't want to it's like, kicking a puppy. You don't want to kick a puppy, but
Never.
let's just do it anyway. Oh, wow. $369. Nice. That's in first place for me. Minus 205 for Steven. Minus 378.47 for Espo. I mean, plus 1,000 on your odds, man. It's all of your bets. I'm like, that's great odds for that bet, but we'll see what happens. Kind of transitioning, wrapping things up here. We appreciate all of you who are here. Hit that like button. Remember to come back for post game. Subscribe to PHNX Sports as well. Another player that I'm watching tonight is Tyus Jones, who has been on a hot streak as of late and was firing from deep and making them last game against the Lakers so far this year. He's had 8 points, 7 points, and 14 points. But of course, they haven't played the Lakers since November. So that was when Tyus Jones was playing a little bit better. I think they're going to need him to up his scoring output like they did against the Kings.
Yeah, and it's been interesting to watch his game logs because he'll have stretches where this dude's shooting like 6 for 7, 7 for 9, like 4 for 6 from 3. And then he'll have stretches where it's like 1 for 6, 1 for 7. Hopefully the cold streak is behind him. You look at his numbers in February, he shot 35% from 3. So far in March through, 7 games, he's shooting 64%.
Jeez.
So very big difference there. And hopefully him coming off the bench, he'll continue to find his stride. He's obviously used to coming off the bench through the majority of his career. But he's been in a groove and has been knocking down shots. So when he's doing that, when he's not being a complete liability on defense, which is exacerbated whenever he's starting, he can play a useful role for this group off the bench.
Yeah, I feel like he's in the best situation he could be for this team. And I think that works for both for him, for the team, and for the team in terms of him being in that role. Opens up minutes for players like Ryan Dunn. I feel like it should open up some minutes for a player like Cody Martin as well. We'll see TBD on that part. But, yeah, he's in a space where he needs to be right now. And with teams completely ignoring him off the ball, he's their shift person. And if he's on the court with Ryan Dunn, that gives defenses 2 shift players to play off of. They got to knock down the shots that are conceded to them.
How have we felt about Colin Gillespie, Tyus Jones minutes playing together? I haven't hated it. I thought I'd hate it. I haven't hated it.
It'll depend on the matchup for me because I think at a certain point, like Colin Gillespie is a much more committed defender. He's better on that end than Tyus. But at the end of the day, he still is slightly undersized, and there are matchups that are going to be able to take advantage of that. And if you have Tyus out there, that is going to be a real puncture point for your defense, I think.
Especially against this team, Steven.
Yeah, exactly. You can't have negative size guys trying to make the rotations you need against the Luka Doncic-led offense. That just is not a template that works for you.
No, it's not. Any other things that you guys are keeping your eyes on specifically when it comes to this game?
The rookie minutes. Like we already talked about Oso and Ryan, but I need to see Ryan continue to play starters minutes, not just be a starter by name, because we saw Bull have a stretch where he played 4 or 5 games and actually played starter minutes, and then the minute he stopped performing to that same unbelievable level, his minutes dwindled, and now he's not even in the rotation at all, it seems like. So I need to see Ryan stick with that spot, and I would like to see Oso minutes, despite, we've talked about Nick Richards being back, Mason playing well recently. Oso's got to play, especially in a matchup like this where your opposing bigs are really not that imposing.
Yeah, you can't let Luka off the hook defensively.
Yeah.
If he's guarding Ryan Dunn, which he probably will be, that's been the template. Put him on a quote-unquote non-shooter. Let him just kind of disregard them and help on the glass. Make him make decisions. I think a lot of people think about mismatch hunting as making someone have to guard the ball. But you can also make people make decisions in space. And that's something that the Suns should be able to do with Luka. If he's spaced off of Ryan Dunn or helping off of Ryan Dunn, who's spaced to the corner, put him in positions where he has to make decisions as a help defender. Make him make rotations. Get to your empty pick and rolls. Get to your post-ups with KD. Make sure Ryan's spaced opposite of them and put Luka in conflict in terms of testing his athleticism, making those rotations that you need, because he's not someone that likes to. He'd rather just wave the hand like, nah, he can't knock it down. And if Ryan Dunn knocks down 2 or 3 from that second side, that's something that shifts the game. So make him make decisions whether he's guarding the ball directly or in help decisions.
Yeah, I think a couple of things that I'm focusing on for this game. Nick Richards returning from injury with that ankle. I want to see how he's moving. He's been very much the type of guy that when he goes up against a center that would be either considered like a lower level center than him or a similar level center, he is actually shown to be relatively dominant. And this is definitely the perfect team for him to look at his interior presence and to dominate on that. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on him. Devin Booker and Luka Doncic facing off. Devin Booker not only on the court hates Luka and has had that rivalry, Devin Booker has also stepped up in big moments against the Lakers as well. I wonder if using those two things together might get a Devin Booker masterclass and then coaching as well. JJ Redick is an incredible coach, and Mike Budenholzer had a good game, made some good calls. Can he continue that? Because if you are going to be exploited by another coaching staff, I feel like the Lakers are going to be one of the league that you're looking at and say they're going to do it. Anything else? Bradley Beal need a good game from you too.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
The Suns should dominate the boards in this game.
Okay.
They should. TBD. We'll spin the block on that in post game.
And Kevin Durant. I feel like we should have a pregame show where we also mention Kevin Durant.
That's it. That's all you needed to say.
Yeah. Kevin Durant. You know who he is. We all know who he is. Arden has a key to the game. 199 super chat. Thank you. Arden says, key word is words are needed for multiple reasons. We need the rookies to play. We need a good game. We need good vibes on a Sunday, but most importantly, we need to inch closer to that play-in spot with the Dallas Mavericks losing to Philly. Only other West game you really have to watch today is Minnesota-Utah. Clippers, Charlotte as well, but those 7 and 8 seeds are a little tough. Portland, Toronto. I'm not as much worried as Portland as I am as what is ahead of the Suns, but just something for you to be aware of. Also be aware, we'll be right back here a couple minutes after the game for post-game. I think Noah has something to end our pregame show.
Yeah, I have a question for all three of you.
Okay.
Depends on what the question is.
I want you guys
answer.
to guess who this player is who's been playing pretty consistent rotation minutes for the Lakers lately. Number 55. Who's this guy?
See, here's the thing.
Is that
you asked this before, and I remember who it is now. So I will refrain because I learned his name.
Did he play for the Suns on their summer league squad recently?
I don't know if he did.
I don't know that much.
I don't think so. I don't think his name was there.
Wasn't? That's not Trey Jameson?
Oh, no, it is. Was Trey Jameson on the...
I'm pretty sure
Was
he
he on the
was
summer
on the
league
Suns
roster?
summer league squad.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
okay.
liked him. He was a
Trey
great guy.
Jameson.
Yeah, it's Trey Jameson.
Yeah, love it.
Duh, Noah. Come on. How could you forget
He
double
looks-
nickel?
he looks-
Mr. 55.
He looks different because I think he was more bald when he played with the Suns, but he's grew his hair out since then. So
It's
that
the
it
LA
threw me
effect.
off for a second.
Yeah, he looks like a football player on the court. He's not playing tonight, though.
Super nice guy.
I'm
Well,
sure.
you got your Trey Jameson talk for pregame, everybody. We'll see if we talk about him in postgame. Remember, Luka's a hoe, and we'll talk to you later.
We all silly like the mayor.